Hey friends, Michael Warren here from Essential Guitar Lessons, and let's learn how to play 10 easy songs using the E, A, D, G, A minor and C chords. Make sure you've done part 7 where we learnt the G chord, and now we're going to be throwing in the A minor and the C. Now if you already know these chords, you can jump ahead to this time to start the songs. Don't forget, if you like this lesson, to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Songs and lessons uploaded weekly, and it really helps me out. If you have any problems with the songs or with the lessons, leave a comment and let me know how you go with this one. So we're not going to go over all the tips again in this lesson. If you need to, go back and watch the previous lessons. We're going to jump straight into the chords. Now we're going to do 2 for this lesson because the A minor is exactly the same as the E, but down a string. So let's have a look at it. We're going to start with our second finger on the D string, so 3 from the top on the 2nd fret. Then place your 3rd finger also on the 2nd fret but on the G string, so a string below. And then our 1st finger on the 1st fret, this time on the B string. And we've got an open E and an open A string there. We don't want to play the top E string. And that's our A minor there. So you can see it's exactly the same as E, but just down a string. So that's our A minor. Now remember, practice that the same way every single time. And it doesn't matter which way you do it, just do it that way every time. If you go for your 1st finger first, then your 2nd and your 3rd, that's okay. Do it that way every time. Or if you're going for your 2nd finger, then your 3rd finger, then your 1st finger, that's okay as well. Do it that way every time. So however you've been practicing the E, which finger you've been doing first, and then 2nd and 3rd, do that exactly the same for the A minor. And as usual, do 4 strums, take your hand off, get it again, and go through that like we practiced our other chords. Now the next chord we're going to learn is C. Now I find most beginners find this the hardest one to do so far. Every other chord we've done, our E minor, our E, A, D and G, and now A minor, we're only either using 1 fret or 2 frets. With our C, we're going to be stretching over 3 frets, so most beginners find that the hardest to do. So let's go through it. We're not going to be playing the top E string. We'll have our 3rd finger, this time on the 3rd fret on the A string. Take your 2nd finger, that's going to be on the 2nd fret, and this time on the D string. We're going to have an open G string, and then our 1st finger on the 1st fret on the B string, and then the open E string down the bottom. And as usual, we don't play the top E string for this one either. And that's our C chord. Now don't worry too much if you can't get quite to the front of the fret with your 3rd finger, because it's the first time we've stretched out over 3 frets. If it's buzzing a bit, try and move it there and get it as close to the front of the fret as possible. This one we've got to be on the tips of our fingers as usual. Most beginners will mute that bottom E string with their 1st finger, and that's because they're not quite on the tips of your fingers. So we want each note nice and clean. I can hear each string there ringing out. We don't want muting or muting. There, right on the tips of your fingers. Bring your wrist forward and that'll force you on the tip of your fingers. Now with that one, best way to get it, start with your 3rd finger, then the 2nd, then the 1st. Now again, it doesn't really matter. You can go to your 1st finger, 2nd, then 3rd. As we know now, just do it the same way every single time. And with practice, you'll get all these chords with 1 shot. You won't have to walk your fingers up, and that's what we want the more we play them. Now you can, if you want to, try and do that, place them all on 1 shot. Now what we do when we're doing that is we're actually making the shape in the air before I actually put my fingers down. So if I'm going from D, when I go to C, I've already made the shape in the air before I actually get on the chord, and that speeds up your changes, makes them really fast. But that is tricky to do when you first start. So you can see C, when I go to D, I've already made the shape and then I just put it straight on. E minor, I've already made the shape before I even stick it on. So my fingers are doing those shapes before I even get them on the chord, and that makes it faster, your changes again. And you can do your pushing chords like we did, keep your strumming going the whole way. So I'm on D to C, just keep my strumming going. And if it takes you a few more strums to get on the C, that's fine, it'll just force you to go faster. Now we'll also be using a few different strumming patterns with these songs, so let's get into them now. So again, these are simplified versions of the song. So let's try Stand By Me by Benny King. This time I'm going to have a capo on the 2nd fret, and as usually we don't have a capo, that's fine, you can just play them in the standard position. So we're going to start on our G chord, which we did last part, and we're going to do 2 bars there, just our down, down, up, down, up, our strumming pattern that we've done there. So down, up, and do that again. And then 2 bars on E minor, exactly the same strumming pattern. Then go to your C, so we've got our new chord now, and we're just doing 1 bar, so just down, down, up, down, up, to our D for 1 bar, and back to our G. Now, as we spoke about in the previous lesson, you can use either G there, whatever feels most comfortable for you, and do another 2 bars to finish that off. And then we just go back to the start and do G for another 2 bars. So at the end, we're actually doing G for 4 bars there. And that's the whole song. It just keeps repeating that over and over again, that chord progression. So we play it slowly for you first, starting on the G, E minor, 2 bars there, C for a bar, D for a bar, G for 2 bars. Then we start again on the G, 2 bars, E minor for 2 bars, C for a bar, D for a bar, and G for 2 bars again. So let's do that up to speed. It's not much faster than that anyway. E minor, C for a bar, D for a bar, G for 2 bars, and again G, E minor, C, D, and G. And that's our verses and our choruses. Just keep playing that right throughout the whole song. So let's try another. So let's do Last Kiss by Pearl Jam. Now again, we're just going to use that same strumming pattern, down, down, up, down, up, and that's 1 bar. And this chord progression is exactly the same as the one we just did with Stand By Me, except this time we're doing G for a bar, E minor for a bar, C for a bar, and D for a bar. And we're going to call that part 1, so let me play that for you. E minor, C, and D. Then again G, E minor, C, and D. Now don't worry, it's going to take you a while to get that C right, so if you've got a gap there, that's okay. Now part 2 is exactly the same, except we're going to do G at the end. So we've got G for a bar, E minor for a bar, C for a bar, D for a bar, and then G for 2 bars. And that's part 2. So we play that now for you up to speed. E minor, C, D, and G for 2 bars. And that's the 2 parts to the whole song. From there we just go back to part 1 and we do that 3 times, and then go to part 2, then part 1, then part 2, and then we go back to part 1 4 times. So when we're repeating the parts, that's the verses. Then we go back to part 2, part 1, part 2, part 1 3 times and then finish on part 2, and that's your chorus there at the end. And that's all the parts of the song. So exactly the same chord progressions as Stand By Me, except we're only doing 1 bar with each chord there except that last G. So it's another fairly easy one to get you going. Now let's do another. Okay, let's try Poker Face by Lady Gaga. We're just going to have a look at the chorus for this one. In the verses, they're basically just using 1 and 2 chords there. So our chorus, we're going to have our capo on the 4th fret this time and do our normal down, down, up, down, up strumming pattern. We're going to start on E minor, 1 bar, down, down, up, to our new C chord, 1 bar, G for 1 bar, and D for 1 bar. And we just do that 2 times, and that's the chorus. So let me do it slowly first, starting on our E minor. C, G, D, back to E minor, to C, to G, to D. Now if you've been following along, we should be able to play our G, D and E minor fairly fast. Now you want to get from D to E minor now really quickly. So let's do that up to speed now. Just a bar on each. E minor, C, G, D. C, G, D, E minor, C, G, and D. And that's our chorus there to Poker Face. So let's try another. So now let's do Teardrops on My Guitar by Taylor Swift. This time we've got the capo on the 3rd fret, and our intro and our verse is going to be the same chord progression we've used before. G for a bar, E minor for a bar, C for a bar, and then D for a bar, and we do that 3 times. So let's try that slowly, starting on the G. Down, up, down, up, so same strumming pattern. E minor, C, 1 bar, and D for 1 bar. And we do that 3 times. Let me do that for you. E minor, C, D, and again G, E minor, C, and D. And we do that through 3 times, and then our pre-chorus, we're just going to go to E minor, 1 bar, same strumming pattern. C for 1 bar, same strumming pattern. G for 1 bar, and then to D for 1 bar. So let's just play that up to speed now. C, G, and D. And that's our pre-chorus. From there we go back to our verse, and we only do it 2 times. Then our pre-chorus. And then for our chorus, the chords change a little bit again. We're going to start on the G this time, 1 bar. D for 1 bar. E minor for 1 bar. And C for 1 bar. Strumming pattern stays the same again, and we do that through 2 times. So let me just play that for you now. D, E minor, and they're all the different parts. Again, we're just using G, E minor, C, D, and putting them in a different order. So from our chorus, we just go back to the verse, and we do that 2 times, then to the pre-chorus, to the chorus 2 times, back to the verse, which we do once, back to the pre-chorus, the chorus 3 times, and then finish on the verse. Just play that through once. And that's the whole song there. Again, just 4 chords, and we're coming across that same chord progression, and it is used a lot in different songs. So let's do another. So let's try Knockin' on Heaven's Door. There's lots of different versions of this. This is a Bob Dylan version. We're going to start on the G, and we're going to do that for half a bar, but we're going to do a bit of a different strumming pattern here. We're going to do the down, 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 up, like we've done before, but we're putting that ghost strum in, like we spoke about in the previous part. So we've got down, ghost strum, down, down, up. then to the D, and we do exactly the same thing. Down, 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 up. Now to our new one, A minor. Remember, exactly the same as E, but down a string, and our strumming pattern. Down, 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 up, up, down, 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 up. So we've got that there for one bar. Then we go back to the G, and we do exactly the same. G, down, 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 up. D, down, 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 up. And then to C, our other new chord, and the same strumming pattern as the A minor. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up. So let me play it slowly for you, then we'll do it up to speed, starting on the G. Back to the G. D, C. And that's the whole song. It just keeps repeating that all the way through. So let's try that up to speed. D, A minor, G, D, C, G, D, A minor, G, D, to our C. So that one, just take your time. Again, we've got the two new chords, and that one, the A minor and the C there. So make sure you're doing them the same way every single time. And again, just go slowly and build your speed up. So let's try another. Let's try Clocks by Coldplay. So this time we're going to have the capo on the first fret. Again, if you don't have a capo, that's okay. Just play it as normal. And we're going to do all down strums. So what we're doing is eighth notes. So we're playing 8 counts or 8 down strums for each bar. So we're going to start on the D, and we're going to do one bar, so 8 down strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we go to A minor, and we're going to do 2 bars. So we're going to end up doing 16 down strums here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then to E minor, 1 bar again, all down strums, so a count of 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's the whole song. It just keeps repeating that over and over again. So let me do that slowly for you, starting on the D. A minor, E minor, back to the D, A minor, to E minor. Now if you play along with the song, it's going to be a real workout for your hands. It's going quite quick, so let's do that up to speed now. Just D, A minor for 2 bars, E minor for a bar there. And that's the whole song. It just keeps repeating. Now when you're doing the down strums, you don't have to hit all the strings. You'll find that too hard if you've got to play all the strings. It's going too fast. So if we're going 8, and you'll be hitting them really hard. So on the D, you can just play the D, G and B string. A minor, play the A, D and G string, and the B if you want to, and then the E minor, the E, A, D and G string. A minor for 2 bars, E minor for 1 bar. And that's the whole song there. So let's do another. Okay, so let's do Big Girls by Fergie. We're just going to look at the chorus for this one. Again, our strumming pattern is going to be exactly the same. Down, down, up, up, down, up. And this time we're going to start on our C, and we're going to do 1 bar with our strumming pattern. To G, 1 bar, same again. And then D, we're going to do 2 bars there, same strumming pattern, just do it 2 times. Back to C, our new chord, 1 bar. G, 1 bar. Now this time just do D for a bar. Then we go to E minor for a bar. C for a bar, G for a bar, and D for 1 bar. And then do that again. E minor for a bar, C for a bar, G for a bar, and D for a bar. Remember, we're not always doing full songs, we're just using them to practice getting to our new chords, our C, A minor, and to work on our old chords and get them quicker that we already know. So let's give a go to that up to speed, starting on the C for 1 bar. C, G, D for 2 bars. C, G, D for 1 bar. E minor. C, G, D, E minor, C, G, and the last D we can just strum and hold there. And that's our chorus. Let's try another. Let's do A Brown-Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. Again, we're just going to start on our G, do that for a bar, same strumming pattern, down, down, up, up, down, up. So you can see how common this pattern is. To our C for a bar, to our G for a bar, and our D for a bar. And we do that 4 times, and that's the verse. Let me do that up to speed for you. C, G, D, and again G, C, G, and that through 4 times. Then from there we just go to C for 1 bar, D for a bar, G for a bar, E minor for a bar, C for a bar, D for a bar, G for a bar, and D for a bar. Now they're using a D7 in parts of this as well, but we're just keeping it easy, just learning our new chords. So let me just play that part for you, starting on the C for a bar, D for a bar, G, E minor, C, D, G, and D. From there we just go back to our verse, and we do that through 4 times again. Now the second chorus, this one here is going to change a little bit. We're going to start on the C, we're going to do a bar there. The D, we're going to do a bar. The G, we're going to do a bar. E minor for a bar. C for a bar. D for a bar. G for a bar. So that's all the same. Now this time we're going to do D, and we're going to do that for 4 bars. So 2, 3, 4. So let me play that part for you, starting on the C for a bar. D, G, E minor, C, D, G, and D for 4 bars. Now from there we're going back to our G for 1 bar, C for 1 bar, G for 1 bar, D for 1 bar, G for 1 bar, C for 1 bar, G for 1 bar, D for 1 bar. Then to finish that section off, we just do G for 2 bars. And then we have a break for 6 bars. We don't play anything. So let me just play that last part for you, starting on the G for a bar. C, G, D, G, C, G, D, and G for 2 bars. And notes drum for those counts there. Then we go back to the verse, we do that 4 times. We go back to the second chorus, we play that exactly the same, and then we finish with that verse and we just keep playing that right through to the end. So again, a little bit harder, we're going quite quick with our chord changes there. As always, just take your time, build your speed up. So let's do another. So let's do Save Tonight by Eagle Eye Cherry. This time we're going to have our capo up on the 5th fret. Our chord's going to be E minor, C, G and D, and it's just going to repeat those through the whole song. Now we've changed the strumming pattern to make it a little bit easier. So start on your E minor, we're just going to do down, 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 up. So down, 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 up. But it is going really fast. So. Then we do C, same strumming pattern. Down, 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 up. G, same strumming pattern. And then D, same strumming pattern. And we just keep repeating that through the whole song. So let me play it slowly for you first. C, G, and D. And again. C, G, D, E minor there. So let's try that up to speed. Just start slowly with this one and you can work on that speed there. Now when they're playing it, they're not using a capo there, but we're using the capo just so we can keep the chords nice and simple there. So again, start slowly, build your speed up. So let's try one more. Let's try I'm Yours by Jason Mraz. So this time we're going to start on the G, but the strumming pattern we're going to use is a mute, mute, and then a down, up. And on the mutes, we're going to sort of do a down, up there. Now you don't have to hit all the strings here. We're going to go down, up, and that's going to be our mutes. So hit down and then come up and then do a down, up on the chord. So mute, mute, down, up, mute, down, up, mute, down, up. When I'm doing the mute, I'm holding my hands on the strings, and the up's just hitting a couple of strings there. It's just getting us a percussive sound. So mute, mute, down, up, mute, down, up, mute, down, up, mute, down, up. And one bar is 4 times there. So we start on our G. To D, same thing. E minor, same thing again. To our C, same again. So that pattern can be quite tricky. Again, just go slowly, build your speed up with it. You start to get the flow of it once you've done it a couple of times. It's not that hard. So let me play that chord progression through for you. This is the verses and the choruses. We do that through 7 times, and that's your intro, your verse and your chorus. And then we finish on an A7. So take your A chord and just take your finger off. So we're playing the open A string, 2nd fret on the D string. We're going to play an open G string this time, 2nd fret on the B string and open E string. And that's an A7. And we just strum that down and hold for 1 bar. So I'll just play that line and finish on the G7. The timing's a little bit different there. He does jump on the A7 a little bit quicker, but just to get you going with that new strumming pattern, just go slowly, build your speed up. And we've got a new chord in there, the A7, which is quite easy. Just take your middle finger off, however you're doing the A, and have the open G string, and that's your A7 chord there. So that gives you 10 songs now to practice your new A minor and your C chord. As we said, you'll find A minor fairly easy. It's exactly the same as the E. Don't worry if it takes you a while to get to the C, because that is now the first time we're stretching over 3 frets. All our other chords have either been 2 frets or 1 fret. So as always, just take your time, build your speed up. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you soon.